Welcome back to the Coaches Unscripted podcast. I'm your host, Trey Belcher. With me, as always, my tag team partner, Corey Smallwood. How's it going, Corey?
It's going well today, Trey. How are you?
I'm good. We've been looking forward to this one for a long time. You've been after me to get Jamie on here for so long. So joining us today is Jamie Revell. Jamie is the owner of W3 Body in Berwyn and Elmhurst, Illinois. These are women's only training facilities, so it's good to have a women's perspective on here and break up our little frat party. So Jamie Revell, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Well, you have grown up in the fitness business. W3 started off as a little something different, and take us through the story of W3 in its original incarnation and you growing up in the fitness business.
Sure. So W3 stands for Women's Workout World. It was a pretty big brand in the Chicagoland area in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. So it started in 1982. My mom, she owned women's gyms in Ohio, actually. And then someone she knew was starting this brand in Chicago and wanted her to move here to start the franchise division. So she did, and ultimately bought Women's Workout World in 1993 and continued to grow it. So at one time she owned, I believe, 15 corporate locations and then had 10 franchisees. Yeah, it was a huge brand across, North Chicago, South, all the suburbs. It was really well known, and I had the front seat to all of it, which was fun.
So you're growing up as the daughter of the boss. What's it like seeing your mom as the boss? What's it like going to different locations? Take us through some of your memories from just being in the passenger seat or back in the 80s and 90s, sitting on the center console, of having that front seat view to what it was like. Because Corey and I've talked about a bunch of times, I never grew up in this. My dad built tires. My mom stayed home. I had no frame of reference to anything like this. So what's it like to have that front row seat growing up?
Well, to make a small correction, I was not alive in the 80s. So in the 90s.
Oof.
But in the 90s, yeah, it's interesting because to my siblings and I, it was really just, it was mom. It was what we knew. And it was just part of what we did. Obviously, we had a great childhood. We had a lot of fun, but my dad was a general contractor, owned a business. My mom owned her business. And so our weekends were spent in gyms or on job sites oftentimes. And it was awesome. It was great. And we played on equipment. It was just fitness and movement, and I guess business in general was just part of growing up. So we had the fitness side, and I think the emphasis on exercise and eating healthy and all that great stuff from my mom preaching it. And then speaking of her specifically, we also saw the business side, especially when there weren't really computers as we know them today. So it was like constant phone calls and I remember being in her office. Two specific things stand out. One is her corporate office was next door to one of her locations, and the pounding aerobics music through the walls as she's there. But she totally tuned it out, and I've learned to tune it out as well. Like I can sit here and focus with music going on because I can hear it too. It's nothing like it used to be, but yeah. So that's a vivid memory. And then her secretary calling the gyms and asking for 3:00 numbers. I was thinking about this the other day and just how funny that is to reflect on that, because now obviously I just go open up our software and pull a report anytime I want, and I can see whatever I want. And they just, that was part of their business system, which was great. It was super dialed in, and it's obviously what worked at the time. So I think unknowingly I learned so much just being around it. From the fitness side, it was just, again, what we knew and what we did. And then from the business side, now looking back, seeing how important systems were and how they had them so dialed in. And I didn't even realize it, like the really good business practices that she had, and the business, how well it ran, especially being so big. Well, to me, right? 25 locations total. I think you've got to have that stuff really, really set.
Yeah, I think what's neat about that story too is that one, Trey joked early on about being a frat party. The gym industry, the fitness industry, really is still a fraternity. If you go to what was URSA, there's 95% it's male. It's all men, and it's the good old boys club. And to have your mom be a female gym owner and franchising in the 80s and 90s just was was unheard of. That's and then for you to follow in the footsteps, same thing, being a female owner operator. And even nowadays, it's not commonplace to have women in these positions. Back in the day, they owned curves or they did jazzercise. They weren't owning multiple full-fledged gyms. And you're now stepping right into the footsteps of it. And I love that you took the W3 as homage to women's workout world. It's but it's your unique brand now. It is not the old aerobics gyms that once were. Tell us how you've evolved the brand into what it is today.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up about like the male dominated industry. It is so true. And I think that I took in so much just listening to my mom and even her stories about getting turned down when she wanted to open new locations, or a particular equipment company not really giving her the time of day. So she's like, okay, forget it. I'll work with someone who will. Why? Because she was a female and she wasn't part of the good old boys club, as she would call it. So, but that didn't stop her. And I think that is a really great lesson and precedent that she set, is like she still managed to make it happen. Because if you think about it, not only with women's workout world, but she owned 3 gyms in Ohio that, like, being a businesswoman in the 70s and 80s and making that happen is incredible. So yeah, I think to just round that out, growing up, seeing her do what she did, there was so much more to it that I now understand, that she just laid the groundwork. And it was the leadership, and it was teaching us through examples instead of sitting us down and being like, okay, here are your life lessons for the day. It was like, no, this is what I'm doing and you should observe and absorb. I had a really great role model, and I'm really fortunate to have grown up in that front seat.
How has it evolved? So you went from the women's workout world, a very established brand. Your mom decides to get out of the gym business, right? She's had her stint, sells off a lot of the locations. You purchase one, but now it's time to put Jamie's stamp and vision to taking it now into the future.
When I graduated college, I decided to work for my mom. I was going back and forth because I was like, I should go do my own thing and figure something else out. And then on the other hand, I was like, but you're never going to be trusted the way that she trusted me to just get things done. And I knew I wouldn't get that experience, but I also knew that I wouldn't have the mentorship in the way that I wanted. But ultimately, that's the decision that I made. I wore so many hats, learned marketing, learned sales, learned management, all these different things. And ultimately, it was like late 2019, I decided, I think I am going to do something different, because I worked under her for many years at that point, and I felt like I wasn't growing anymore. And I figured, okay, well, I'm going to go back to school, get my MBA, and go into management consulting. That was my definitive decision. So I started studying for the GMAT and doing all these things. And then COVID happened. And thanks to COVID, I just got roped back in, and just really, we worked so hard to save the gym that I was managing at the time, which was the Berwyn location. And I was like, wow, I can't give up on this community. I loved it. And also through that, learned a little bit more about the number side, because I was out of the back end and was so, I guess, on the front end of operations and things for so long that I didn't see those numbers. And I was like, you know what? I really, really like this. But if I stay with it, Mom, I need to buy the gym and do my own thing, because I can't stay stagnant forever. And so ultimately, that's what we did in 2021. I went through a decision of, should I change the name completely, or should I keep this legacy aspect? W3, like the nickname W3 had such a strong presence in the community, and it's just well known in the Chicago area. It's so funny. There's this like extreme nostalgia towards women's workout world or towards W3, because, you know, you think the span of women that it touched over all of those years is just so huge, and people really resonate with it. So, so I decided to keep it and just try to modernize it a little bit, not only the name, but then of course, what we did in the gym. So it was like this very aerobics based traditional gym. And well, I say that like, so think your standard big box gym with group fitness. It had a daycare, sauna, locker room, like just that standard traditional big box, but for women only. And so the Berwyn location, what I did was we took out the daycare, we put in a cafe. I've minimized Group X over time and really focused on training. We had training. So this is actually where I got to know Corey really well. So we had training, we had team training. We were super big into large group training, and we'd had small group training, but there were no systems around it at all. And I enjoyed what we did, but I never felt like I could duplicate the model because it was so chaotic and it was so trainer dependent. And it was too much going on, too many moving pieces all the time. So I met Corey right after I bought the gym, actually. And I attended your lecture on avatars, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyways, this is how I literally, where I'm sitting here, I have Elmhurst open today. It goes back to Instagram messages from Corey calling me out constantly to our business page. Why are you guys doing that? Why are you doing that movement? Like particularly in team training. And I'm like, I don't know. And so then I'm like, God, what are you trying to say? Like, what is wrong here? Right? Many things were wrong, but long story short, I hired him to help me redo all of the training side. And literally because of all of that, so I'll back up. I'll give you a little bit more detail. So he came in, he did a whole sales training for my staff. We did a big training with the trainers and we systematized everything. And so we relaunched semi-private training in October 2022, right at the beginning of the month. And it was like, I swear, a light bulb switch. It was incredible. It was like a night and day difference of how I felt about the gym, the programs it was like overnight. I'm like, I could duplicate this. I could totally see this being in another gym, other locations, because it just made sense. And I'm not going to lie, I absolutely doubted it and Corey, but I also trusted him at the same time. It's a really weird combination, but glad that I stuck with it. And then a month later, I went to Asheville to meet with Tom and Corey as well and do some goal setting for the upcoming year. And we were going through options, and Tom was like, well, an option is to open a gym. And that's the one that made the most sense to me. And I was like, okay, well, what's my goal date? And he said October. I was like, okay, October 2023. I'm going to open another gym. And then that's what I did.
That's what I did. So that's what
I did. And here's the kicker with that situation is, little did I know. So after Asheville, my mom lives in South Carolina, like 4 hours away from where Tom lived. So I drove then to my mom's for Thanksgiving and found out I was pregnant. And so then, I was like, I'm never going to reach my goals. Like it was a weird couple of days, but then I had a baby in July and opened my gym in October. Mm-hmm. I don't recommend it.
Just change everything at one time.
Right.
You went from not opening a gym because of chaos to opening a gym during massive amounts of chaos.
A lot of chaos. Yeah. I mean, I managed. We're still here 2 years later. My child's alive and I'm still married, so we're good to go.
Corey, we're on the other side of it. I understand badgering people with Instagram messages. That's how Corey and I officially met.
Did he call out your programming too?
No, that's maybe the one thing he hasn't called out. But that's, we're still early in this thing. We got time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you do. It took me a while. Yeah, a lot of badgering to give in.
Yeah, no. So Corey, you were on the other side of it. You were involved so you speak to your side.
Well, when I met Jamie, I was speaking for Club Industry at a conference and heard her story and learned a little bit more about what she was doing, connected, and she would reach out and ask some little questions here and there. Great. Lots of people do that. But I was watching her gym from afar and just going, it seems a bit antiquated. Like the programming side of it. I mean, it's a beautiful gym and I love the concept, and it's women's only, and the riches are in the niches. And the gym had a following, almost cultish, in the community. But I was looking at it going, I don't understand the programming. So I'd be like, why that exercise? Why is this? Why this? And a lot of the answers were, I just don't know. And so I said, well, can I help you with programming? And even Jamie wasn't bought in. She was a, HIIT. Those were the workouts she was doing. She wasn't doing full body functional strength training herself. And I said, can I start with just writing you some programs so that like, if I can get her to drink the Kool-Aid, then we can make change.
Yeah.
So true.
And so then I went in and did the staff training, and just because it starts with, you have to get the entire team on board. And there were some resistance. There were people that were employees that didn't stay. They left.
Yep.
Okay.
And I have a comment on that, because there was a very pivotal conversation, and I will never forget it. And I bring it up from time to time, that I had with Corey one night. So this was like a process from July. I think we started getting the staff on board with sales training and just like, hey, these changes are coming. And then I also redid all of I moved. Oh, we also used to do small group training. Oh, this is mind blowing. In the same area as my members worked out. I can't. This is so embarrassing.
They would have reserved signs that they would put on equipment before the session started, so that the members weren't allowed to use that pieces of equipment.
Yeah. So think about members like just, and there might be three at the time, like 3 small groups in a row. So imagine you're a member, you can't use the leg press for 3 hours because a trainer put a sign on it, like how off they were. Oh yeah. We did that for a long time. That's all I have to say about that. But so I made a general pop, and then I got new equipment and made 2 small group areas side by side. Okay, we're going to separate it. But so this was like a couple months process of getting this all set and getting the members prepped for it too, right? Because they were used to doing leg day with this coach and then leg day again with this coach. And we're like, well, you're not doing that anymore. So that was hard for people. Change. I learned a lot. I learned how difficult change is, but how necessary it is for business growth. And also as a business owner, you're an agent of change constantly. But not everyone is going to like that. I would say most people don't initially, and then over time, right? So, but back to my point about this pivotal conversation, I thought, like I said, I doubted it so hard, but I also trusted it so hard. So I was convinced that I was going to lose all of my training members, which at the time, I can't remember. There was somewhere, let's say 165, 170. Yeah, I thought they were all going to quit. And that I was going to lose. The gym was just going to go under. And I knew that this one coach was going to quit too, because he did not believe in total body functional strength training. And so I'm on my way home, and I called Corey, and I was like, this is a mistake. Like, I think I'm going to cancel all of it. And what did you say to me? He put it into perspective. It was like it pierced my heart, but I was like, you're right. It was like, are you basically going to go backwards? And do you fine. That's what it was. It was like, fine, you're in 6 months, you're going to operate the gym just like you are now. That's fine. If you want to do that, go for it. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to be this mediocre gym that isn't running things by systems and isn't positioned for growth. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to keep going. And I did. But I was so close, because I had members complaining. I had staff complaining. It was awful. But now I look at it and I'm like, I've dealt with worse. It's fine.
It's that old plumber 50-50 rule. No matter what you do in your gym, 50% of the members are going to love it and 50% of the members are going to hate it. It doesn't matter what you do. And so I remember her calling me and crying, and I can't do this. Members are outside my door. There's a riot. I have somebody that quit. Coach is going to quit, going to take those members with them, blah, blah, blah. And I said, then don't.
Let them.
Then
Well,
don't,
yeah.
then don't change. There's no skin in the game for me. I don't have any money invested in this. I'm here as a coach and an advisor and a consultant for you. Don't. But just know 6 months from now, you're going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was it. I knew her mindset. And that's part of being a coach, just like when we coach members. You got to know the right things to say at the right moments in time. And she was leaning on me for those particular words. And I could have said, oh, well, you're being silly. You're just like, that would have had a different reaction. But I pushed back on her enough to say, then don't do it. And just know that you're going to be the exact same 6 months from now, a year from now, doing the exact same thing. Like, I knew that's not what she wanted. Mediocrity is one of her pet peeves. So I knew the buttons to push, and that light bulb went off and went, yeah, all right. And that gym has transformed. It was doing well. It wasn't failing by any means. I talked to some gyms that call me and I need leads. And I'm only doing X, Y, and Z. Her gym was sustaining, she was taking a paycheck and it was good, but it wasn't where it could be. It wasn't reaching its full potential. Now it's doing really well. And she has then been able to open a second location, which 2 years later is doing really well just by running the same systems. And then now third location.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And also to put that in perspective, I only lost 4 members and 1 coach for the best.
Right. And that coach should have gone anyways.
What?
That coach should have gone anyways.
Yeah.
And I've
also, and I'll send it to him. And I've also retained a few coaches that still coach for me so this is 3 years later, which is awesome because they bought in and because they understand how much it makes sense. But out of all of those, only 4.
And your semi-private training is so popular now, you just expanded to a third semi-private training area. So you are running 3 training sessions all at one time. We haven't expanded the gym. We've reorganized it, to make the flow a lot better. So, yeah, I mean, it's growing.
Yeah, thanks to that conversation.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. I've got all sorts of notes. Number one, knowing your influences, Corey, and you even mentioned the name, I can only imagine hearing, what the hell do you want? I mean, do whatever you want, but what do you really want? That's all I could hear. But also you're running it through your filters and understanding the Corey Smallwood way. A little bit softer tone. Getting across, but a little bit softer tone.
I think Jamie asked me one time if Tom was my dad.
Oh, what I didn't just ask you. I was convinced. Like, seriously, just certain not only phrases, but like the sound, the tone of your voice. I would be like, what? And at that point, I hadn't seen or talked to Tom in a long time, because this was just like a year post COVID. But yeah, it was mind blowing.
Because she would go to Tom's lectures when he was out in Chicago and attend the workshops and things like that.
Yeah. When I was young.
All right. So number 2, you said you only lost 4 members. So what is your longest term member? How long has the longest person been at the gym?
At the Berwyn gym, I mean, that gym has been there since 1982. So the early 80s.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And I just shot a podcast yesterday with this member who's 71, who was a member of Women's Workout World and did aerobics and all this stuff forever. And so she's probably one of our longest members. She switched to doing our semi-private program a little over a year ago and has reversed her osteoporosis.
Well, and that was another part of the question chain is, how did those long-term members, how do they feel about the changes? What feedback? And of course, you're going to have the change. We just changed our program template. We turned it from landscape to portrait, and people are like, what is this? Why? And I'm like, give it 6 months and you won't think anything of it. If I change it again, then you'll be mad again. But just little things that you laugh at, right?
Mm-hmm.
But But now that you've gone through it and you've been through it long enough to where they've gotten comfortable with it and they've gotten used to it, what feedback do they give you? Do they just give you a little elbow in the side and say, man, I can't imagine not doing this now, or it's just so much better or so much whatever compared to how things used to be?
Are you talking about the training members?
Yes, the actual training members, and just without knowing all the specifics of how people train there and what tiering systems you have, but just the people that used to do the HIIT stuff and the aerobic stuff and the people that are doing the functional training now, what feedback do they give you or have given you over time based on those things?
Yeah, I would say the ones that are still training with us now, they get it, or they canceled and then they came back. And there's a reason that they did. They might have fought it or been influenced by some negativity or whatever it was at the time. And then they're like, I miss it. I miss the community. I had someone recently rejoin and who was like, I shopped around. I tried all these other places, but they call it home. Like there's no place like home. It's their community. It's their people. They feel comfortable. They believe in what we do and they trust it. And they're like, I need to go back. So I would say the feedback is they're thankful that they have their own area to train in and that things make sense and that they're stronger and yeah, they're continuing on.
The community aspect is one thing that is so important. And Corey and I talk about this a lot. And that's even in what we talk about here on these podcasts is creating community and the communities within each person's gym. But I tease here that Trey Belcher Training is the gym where you wear your old gym's t-shirt to, because of the community that we create and because of the environment that we create, because the training is great and the training always has to be a foundation, but also within those foundations is the community that you create and knowing your people and knowing their stories and knowing their families and knowing their dog's name, all those things that don't go into a training plan. But those are the real things that make our types of gyms really special.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think being, women only, it creates its own special type of community where, like I said before, they come and they feel comfortable. Just like it feels very homey and, in a good way with where they just really, and then this is true of any gym, but I really think we get people that come from even further because of the niche that we are. And I think it also creates a very special and diverse community in that way, because you don't just get a very localized market, you get a little bigger of one. And it's cool. I've seen that. I mean, that's of really all of the women's workout worlds back in the day, but even my two gyms now, it's definitely, I think the diverse aspect creates a very special community.
I think that's one of the things as moving forward to really be successful as a training gym. That community feel has to be in the forefront because everybody's going to be now even we specialize in fitness after 40. That's becoming a popular buzz. And
yeah.
Are they really specializing in fitness after 40, or do they just put that tagline on their website? So to be able to have that community feel and or the emphasis in community is key. And whether it's women's only, whether it's youth performance, whether it's focusing on menopause, whatever it might be, that's what's going to really differentiate you from the LAs and Lifetimes and Golds and Planets and all the big ones that they can't. There is no community because they take everybody and their brother as members. So that is one of the things that you have, and you do a very, very good job, better than me. I'm always taking notes on some of the programs and the workshops and things like that you have going on at your gym. She just did a post that said upcoming events. I'm just like, my God, you have so much going on.
Oh man, we do.
For the end of the year, I was like, I gotta step up my game. So that's fostering that community, fostering that homey feel is something that there has to be intent. There has to be intention to it.
Yeah. And then there has to be staff buy-in too, I think, because I'm always telling the staff, like, we can post flyers, we can put it on social media as much as we want. And that typically will capture all of the ladies that come to everything, like our cheerleaders, our most bought in members, but we want everyone. And I'm like always thinking about, what about our shy members who, like, they want to be a part of it, but they're not necessarily the ones to take initiative. We have to pull them in. You have to make them feel a part of it. You have to reach out, invite them, tell them that you want them there. And then that helps a lot versus just like posting stuff and hoping that people see it. Like, we have to do that too, but personal invitations, I think, go a long way.
Yeah, and you develop things in your community. I had two of my female members come to me the other day. One was really the ringleader on this thing, but she brought me this outline, and I got it right here.
Oh, wow.
Speed dating. She was like, "What do you think about hosting a speed dating event here?" And I was like, "Why not?" So, am I the expert in this? Am I the person to set this thing up? Absolutely not. But it's about the community. So a girl that I went to high school with who's trained here, she just started a little business called the Southern Social. So I reached out to her. I said, "Hey, you want to host something here?" She jumped right on it. So in January, we'll have speed dating workout.
Wow. Oh, a speed dating workout.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll put together a workout.
30 seconds
and then there'll be a little social hour.
I was thinking like true speed dating, but that's just next level.
Text me that date.
All right, you got it. You got it. Mark off your calendar for all of January. Yeah.
Will do.
Right, but that's the thing. That's the community, and knowing people's story and knowing people in the community and being able to reach out and to bridge gaps. To know where your own blind spots are, talking about your conversations with Corey and for him to understand where to push and where not to push and where to challenge you on things. You know, that savvy, that feel, we call it the feelometer down here. Having that feelometer to be able to do the things that the people are asking for and to give the people what they want and to be able to, if I host this event and I bring in 1-2 new members because of just hosting an event where they come in and they feel comfortable and they see that it's a good place and a good environment, those things matter, and that creates more of a community outside, or I guess better standing within the community at large. And that's how you grow and how you do things. And it's a little bit non-traditional, but who cares? Why not? Let's do it.
Yeah. We hosted an adult field day this summer as an event, and it was a suggestion of a member. I had to learn what field day was, but now I am well versed in it and I can't wait to do it again. It was I know. Yeah.
So young. Look, we grew up with field day. Field day was the day that you look forward to the whole year.
Supposedly so did they. I'm like, what rock did I live under? I was in gyms. That's what I was doing. I was living in a gym. Yeah.
By the time you came along, they had the pacer test instead of the mile run.
Nightmares of those beeps.
They didn't have it down here. Not then. Anyway, sorry. I just stepped all over you. I apologize. But...
No. It's yeah. I think too, just when you jump in and you host that stuff, then you learn. Like, we host challenges, members love them, but there's always something that should be tweaked, like something someone calls out. Like, so you just learn every time, but they have fun with it.
Yeah, and people are going to be okay with that. They're going to be okay if something needs to be tweaked because they do things in their lives that need to be tweaked. And it's real. It's real, and that's what makes it fun, and that's what makes it great, is the fact that it's real. It's not a put on. You're doing the best you can with the information you have, and the next time we're going to make it better, and the next time we're going to make it bigger, and the next time we're going to serve you better with it. And those are the things that keep with the community. Now, one other question that I had in my list is, do you still have those reserve signs?
No. God, I burned those.
You should have framed one.
I know.
Yep.
Should have. Gosh, you guys. So embarrassing to admit. But
it's not. I mean, think about how many gyms out there, we talk to them all the time, that are, running it the best that they know how, whether you don't have a billing company or you are using a CRM or you're, doing still all hit training or one-on-one training or whatever it might be. There are hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of those gyms out there going, man, if I just had the plan, if I just had the strategy, if I just had, what am I doing over the next 90 days to move my gym and my business forward? You took the leap, and a lot of people are resistant to it, whether it's pride, oh, I can do this myself, I don't need anybody's help, or whether it's an expense, not knowing that how much money they're leaving on the table as is, or fear, or whatever it is, something is holding a lot of these people back, a lot of these gym owners and operators. And I'll give it to you, you took the leap. And over the years, now with that trust, I will say, Jamie, you should do this. And by the time I punctuate that sentence, she has it done and implemented. And it's just blind trust. And now she makes a lot of money and services a lot of members based off of just continuously evolving and moving her businesses forward.
Well, thanks to you, Corey. I really mean it when I say this gym, and I'm sitting in Elmhurst right now in my office, it would not be open without Corey's help. Well, literally, but in terms of like whenever I had a question, opening this gym and not knowing anything about construction or I mean, it's insane that opening it and pre-sales and everything went as smooth as it did, especially because I had a newborn. But like, I really thank Corey for answering all those constant questions. But going back further, all of those conversations and just guidance, because we changed the programs, because they made sense, and because it took off so quickly, this gym is open, and then we'll see from here. So thank you, Corey. You were absolutely you were a game changer.
No. It takes application. All the, Sir Francis Bacon says, knowledge is power. And that is applied knowledge is power. You have to do it. You have to put it into application, and you agree with that. So that's that.
The thing about any community, is you have to have somebody to lean on. We all do. Your members lean on you. Corey's members lean on him. My members lean on me. But we all have to lean on each other because there's somebody out there that's going to know better than us. And we all need the mentor. And you talked about it earlier, having your mom as a mentor and having her to have gone through a lot of these things. And fitness has evolved a lot. It's still a young business, so we've evolved a lot here lately. But having somebody who's been there, whether it's your mom when you're first starting out, whether it's Corey, we all have those mentors, and we all need those mentors, and we all constantly have to have somebody to bounce stuff off of, because we laugh about the reserve signs. But how many times, Corey, have we had conversations on here with people who are wildly successful, and they said, I made all these mistakes. I screwed up all these things. I had to learn these things the hard way. Bill Parisi talked about the cost of experience. And we all go through these trials. We all go through these periods where we're like, God, I can't believe I did that. But that's what helps you grow. And that's what helps get you to where you are now. And then pretty soon, and it may already be the case, I'm sort of speaking out of pocket here, but you become the mentor, and somebody's going to come to you and say, Jamie, I have this, and you're going to say, this is what you need to do. And they're going to do it, and they're going to be like, God, you're a genius. And you say, well, I mean, I had reserve signs where people couldn't use equipment. That's the part of the natural, order of things, and being able to grow and evolve and make things better.
Yeah. I appreciate you saying that, because about experience and making mistakes and things, because I think for the longest time, I was so scared to make a mistake. And I think I still am, but I try to push myself to just do it and see what happens and adjust from there. Like, obviously you want it to be well thought out, but I've come to understand that if I'm going to be in that mindset of being scared to make a mistake, I will never grow, and I will be stuck where I am. And there's so much value in the experience and learning through it. So yeah, you just got to take that leap.
Yeah, Martin, I love Martin's quote. Martin Rooney, who always says, the black belt isn't the one who made no mistakes. The black belt is the one who has made all of the mistakes. And a mistake isn't negative. A mistake is a learning opportunity to do better. And if you're not making the mistakes, then you're not growing. You're not learning, you're not evolving, and you're not doing better.
Yeah. And Martin is a top guy. To continue on with the karate metaphors, Alan Cosgrove said he was a black belt in training and a white belt in business.
Yes.
These are people who keynote conferences. These are people who get paid a lot of money to tell their stories, and they sit there and say, we made those mistakes. And it's just part of the process, part of the story. And that's what makes it cool. And that's what makes it fun. And that's what makes it great to share both with the world at large and even amongst the three of us, to just be able to tell stories and to sit here and to laugh and goof off and shake our heads at the things that we've done. And it's just, that's life.
That's right.
Yeah, that is life.
Well, I think it's about time to wrap this bad boy up. And I'll leave it. Corey, you and Jamie have such a long-term relationship and have gone through so much together. I'll leave you the last word. And Jamie, you jump in. I'm going to step out and I'll say our goodbyes at the end, but you guys take it home from here.
Well, we are so happy to have Jamie on, and it's great to have gym owners on here as well, because we have a lot of the leaders in the industry on here, and they give great insight. But it's also nice to have the insight from the people that are boots on the ground and in the thick of it in the day to day. And there are a lot of people that have had one successful gym. We talk about this a lot. They had one successful gym, and a lot of people can get lucky with one successful gym, and then they become a guru, and they're now showing other people how to run their one successful model. But can you duplicate? And so Jamie's proven that her model, and she's duplicating it in different sizes too. So now we're trying it, and we're about to try it. You.
Yeah.
I'm not doing nothing.
Well, you're on the other end of the phone, constantly answering questions.
You are about to try it in a much smaller location as well. So we're going to test it out in 3 different size models and documenting everything, SOPing it all. And yeah, so it's fun. It's been fun to be working with you. I've learned a lot about women from your members.
Yep.
Wow. So the riches are in the niches, but let me tell you, that's a unique model right there. Women's only. Not sure I'm made for it, but
you're cut out for that. Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm cut out for that.
Yeah. Sometimes I have to preface questions with I know you don't deal with this at your gym, but what would you do if?
Yeah, I don't have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for coming on and sharing your very unique. I remember meeting you at Club Industry, and the great late Chris McGill was talking to you because he worked with your mom and was just raving about her, and couldn't believe he was now speaking to her daughter. And so really, really neat to see how well respected your mom was, and now how well respected you are, and the name that you're making for yourself in the fitness industry. So.
Appreciate that. And thanks guys for having me on. It's been fun. I'll talk shop any day. So
absolutely. Well, Jamie, we thank you for joining us on the Coaches Unscripted podcast. We hope today's stories have inspired and empowered. Please connect with us on Instagram at Coaches Unscripted Podcast. Give us a like, subscribe, comment, and share to continue the conversation. Stay updated for future episodes. Follow Jamie on Instagram at JRevell, REVELL 21, and at W3 body _Berwyn, BERWYN, and W3 body _ Elmhurst. Jamie, we thank you for joining us. For Jamie Revell, Corey Smallwood, I'm Trey Belcher. Keep coaching from the heart and building strong communities.
Thank you.